welcome to this latest episode of Energy Matters with me, Lee Anthony Taylor. And before we start, I just wanted to let you know of a slight deviation in that it's Energy Matters with Lee. That's what you should be looking for when you want to check up what's going on this channel. If you're already a subscriber, you'll get those notifications anyway, so that's absolutely fine. But if you've come here by chance, Energy Matters with Lee is what you need to look for. Okay, so this channel is designed really to talk about all different aspects of energy medicine and to celebrate ourselves as energetic beings, what we're capable of experiencing, all the amazing philosophies that go with it as well. I'm going to have some amazing guests, some superb speakers joining me. It's not just going to be about me, it's going to be about other people as well and their views. And we're going to talk about the way that energy medicine, and you could be a therapist, you might be a non-therapist, how it influences and benefits you directly and the work that you do. So stay with us for the journey. It's going to be an amazing experience. And please like, subscribe, and share all this information on this YouTube channel to show how much energy matters. Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I don't know where you are at the moment watching this, but hope you're having a lovely day. My name's Lee Anthony Taylor, and we are going to be speaking to David Wayte today, my very good friend, my partner in crime. We've lots of occasions when we work together, and we're going to have a talk, a discussion today about reflexology, past, present, and future. And in particular, I wanted to sort of get into the nitty-gritty about the idea of regulation as well. So, David, we're going to do that. Now, David is the principal of Jubilee College here in the UK, and he runs a course as well, which is level 5 accredited,
Yes.
one of only a couple within the country, to my knowledge. This one is actually recognised by the Association of Reflexologists as well. So it's a darn fine course to do.
Oh, thank you very much for saying so.
How are you doing anyway? You all right?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Yeah.
Good, good,
All the
good.
better for talking with you.
That was what it said on the script, wasn't it? That's it. Okay.
I had to
So
say that, otherwise you wouldn't pay me.
no, that's right. That's right. So we're going to have a look at reflexology, past, present, and future, like I say. Now, when
Yes.
you trained,
Oh,
how long ago was that? Cast your mind back.
1999.
Yeah.
So, and it was very, very, very different then.
Okay.
Um,
In what way?
when I learnt, there wasn't the awarding bodies as there
Okay.
are now.
Yeah.
Um, So therefore, they weren't any sort of government recognized qualifications for reflexology. I did the old-fashioned Association of Reflexologists diploma in reflexology, and at the same time, I think there was also the British Reflexology Association. And you know, when we were down the pub a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I was saying the only reason, because you did
Yes, I
Nicola
remember you saying.
Hall's, you did Nicola Hall's one, which was the
Yeah.
British Reflexology Association. And I was looking at these two different courses and I thought, "Do you know what? It doesn't look right if for a bloke to have the initials BRA after his name. So I did the AOR's one instead. That was
Yes,
the
see?
only reason I chose the AOR. But then we didn't have the choice in those days, Lee, did we?
Our loss was their gain. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. But no, it was very, very different. I think there were just 10 lessons.
All right.
Um, very, very, very basic. Um, and as far as I'm aware, like nowadays, we've got lesson plans, we've got internal verification, external moderation, so many checks and balances to make sure that we're doing it
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And it's independent verification. Back in those days, it was a case of you'd got one school that would be checking up on a different school. And I do know that my tutor every year would complain if the inspector from the other school marked him down on something because he'd say, well, they would say that because they're trying to close me down. And that was his excuse every single
Oh, okay.
it was
Yeah.
so different. So different.
What perceptions were there about reflexology at the time as well, from the general public or the medical profession? What did they think about it? I
Oh,
mean,
well, we were weird.
yeah,
It was very, very much not accepted by anybody. To give an example, this is back way back in the day.
yeah,
I was waiting for an appointment with a consultant. I'd got a problem with my eye, and he said, "What do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a reflexologist." And he says, "Oh, you're a complementary therapist then?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well," he says, "you do know the definition of a complementary therapy means that it's a therapy that doesn't work, don't you?"
okay. That
Straight out of
condemned a
his
load of
mouth. And
us
it
to
was, yeah,
the
so
dustbin.
we had none of the acceptance
Yeah.
that we have now, particularly I'm thinking from midwives
Mhm.
who recognize how reflexology can help during labor, from fertility consultants that recognize that if you can de-stress clients, they've got far better, this is as far as they go at the moment, of course,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you've got a far better chance of helping somebody to achieve pregnancy. A few of my graduates work within the IVF field, and it's positively recommended to have reflexology if you're going through IVF. And then, of course, let's not forget oncology,
yeah.
where I was down at the Royal Society of Medicine. Now, this is quite a few years ago. Met the lead consultant for St. Bart's, Great Ormond Street, and I forget which other hospital he was lead oncologist for. He said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm a reflexologist." And he just looked at me, says, "Amazing." He says, "I walk onto my wards
Yeah.
and," he says, "I literally see people hiding under the covers. They don't want to make eye contact with me." And he says, "I feel like I'm the Grim Reaper." He says, "Because normally the only reason I'm going to come onto the ward is I've got them bad news to tell." He says, and then he says, "You guys come onto my wards." He says, "and everybody comes alive again." And he just looked at me and he eyeballed me and he says, "How do you do it?" Totally different attitude,
Yeah.
because he'd experienced it. He could see that we bought something. He couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
He didn't know how we did it,
Yeah.
but he knew we did.
Yeah. I mean,
And
the story that I've got that echoes that is that in 1997, I think it was, I visited my local hospital and I said, I'd not long qualified, a couple of years qualified, and I said, "Is there any possibility of doing some work with the on the oncology ward?" Now, luckily, this guy, this oncologist, had received reflexology,
brilliant.
so he knew about it, and he gave me a 6 week trial, and that 6 weeks turned into 11 years in the end.
Ah,
Yeah. And that was simply, through recommendation all the time. He'd say, "You need to go and try this. You need to go
yeah,
and
yeah,
try."
yeah,
So it
yeah.
is actually the people that you know
Oh, yeah.
making a difference there, and if you get one of them on side, then it really opens the gates for more to come in,
This
definitely.
is it.
So, so we've talked about the past and we've talked about what's going on in the present as well.
Hmm.
With the idea of regulation, which is, I mean, in all the years I've been working as well, I see you laughing already. All the years that we've been working,
It's a thing that keeps on coming up every now and again, doesn't it? In
what's the
conversation.
current status of it in terms of who are we trying to impress through regulation, should we say?
Hmm.
Is there a need to impress, or is there over-regulation? What's it currently stand like, in your opinion?
As far as I'm aware, there is no regulation. There is a voluntary regulator for complementary therapists. Now, that's the CNHC. Um, but say if somebody was having a reflexology treatment, the reflexologist, for one reason or another, did something that the client wasn't happy with. Um, if that reflexologist was a member of the CNHC, then that client could then make
Mm.
a complaint to the regulator,
Yeah.
and the regulator would then have to investigate. But because it's a voluntary system, and the reason I'm sort of bringing this example up is that then if the reflexologist wanted the complaint to go away, all they've got to do is then just leave.
Yes. Yeah,
And then the
exactly.
CNHC has got
Yeah.
no power
Yeah.
over them
Yeah.
anymore. It is so, to my mind, there is no regulation in the UK at the moment.
Yeah. Do you think there
Um,
needs to be?
Now, this is where it comes to a two-edged sword
Yeah.
because if you're wanting there to be name protection, such as doctors, midwife, vet, nurse, that sort of thing, where you can only be called this
Yeah.
if you have done the proper training and have met the standards required. I would love it if there was something that could stop people from just doing these
Weekend
2 day.
courses.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or to do, I mean, some I've got to be very, very careful here because there are some people that have done online courses that highly rate them. They think they're fabulous and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But I know of an online course where it actually says, design your techniques and tell us, why you chose to do this, that, or the other. So there's not even any teaching on how to apply reflexology to the
Yeah.
feet or hands.
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody else that did one, and they said, they were talking about my course. Why should I do your course? And I said, it's hands-on. You can't learn hands-on therapy without being hands-on.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
just happened to mention the spine reflex, and they said, what spine reflex? They didn't even know there was one. And I'm thinking, oh dear,
All right. Okay.
yeah, it's a bit.
Let's put
So,
it into context. Yeah. Yeah.
so if it meant that it was going to be able to improve the quality of education
Yeah.
and that you couldn't just open up after having read a book, open up in practice
Yeah. Yeah.
after just having read a book,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with regulation always comes restrictions.
Yeah.
And so
It's a
what
double
those
edge, like you say, isn't it?
double-edged sword. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
then does that mean that there would be regulation that meant that we could only work if we, say, for example, we had to give 18 hours a week
Yeah.
to the NHS
And
and work for
also,
basic minimum wage,
in
to
my
be a
cynical
reflexologist.
way of looking at it as well, you would have to pay the ferryman something as well, wouldn't you? In
Oh,
order
the
to
regulator.
regulate it,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
would set the charge
Yes.
and then say, well, as long as you continue to pay the charge, then we'll consider you to be worthy of being called a reflexologist.
Yes. Which means, of course, Lee, that we need to get onto the regulatory body before anybody else does.
Yeah.
I
Watch this.
jest.
Watch this
But
space. Watch this. Now
but it's true that
you've
it
talked about
costs.
your college and you've talked about that process. But what I wanted in this final section just to talk to you about as well is finger-free reflexology,
Oh
because
gosh.
some people, obviously, some people don't even know what spinal reflex is, but some people won't know what finger-free reflexology is. Just give us a quick rundown of what it entails.
So first and foremost, um, when I created finger-free reflexology, I was very aware that all of the CPD courses were focused for the client. And there was absolutely nothing focused for the reflexologist.
Yeah,
Nothing to even sort of get close to how can we prolong our working life by looking after
yeah,
our thumbs and fingers,
yeah,
because I was teaching CPD courses at the time. I hadn't actually even started Jubilee. And people were coming up saying, David, my fingers and thumbs hurt after I've done 3 or 4 clients in a day.
yeah,
I used to then say, show me your techniques. And they'd show me what they were doing. And invariably, because they were people coming from different schools rather than, people that I might have trained,
yeah,
because I was teaching for a different school at the time,
yeah,
and they'd do something different. I'd show them what I was doing, fine. The the bottom fell out of my world when one of my graduates said, David, my fingers and thumbs are aching. Asked her to show me what she was doing, and she did it perfectly. And I'm thinking, oh, we need to look at this. And I then found out that 80% of the population, if they keep doing the same thing again and again,
Yeah.
nick, 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 are going to get a repetitive strain injury.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
thought, right, okay. So I did some research. I did a report for the AOR. And we're finding that reflexologists are getting osteoarthritis
Hmm.
in these joints.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never get osteoarthritis in our hands.
No.
Um, so I thought, right, how am I going to do this? It took me 5 years to create the techniques for finger-free reflexology to do a full treatment on the feet without using fingers or thumbs.
Yeah.
But because we're not using these, it means that you are not using articulating joints, therefore you cannot get repetitive strain injury. That's the plan.
There you go. In a nutshell, that was
Sorry, I probably took
uh,
far too long saying that. I do
no, no,
apologize.
that was explained really succinctly. Now, obviously, as well, we can use this platform to. Are you promoting finger free in the UK or abroad anytime soon?
So, funny you should mention that.
Oh,
Um,
that wasn't
so
rehearsed either.
in 2 weeks' time, I'm actually teaching it in Switzerland, which is I'm really looking forward to. But I have to admit, at the moment, my teaching of it is very, very curtailed. I'm looking after my 90-year-old mum,
Oh yeah,
who
yeah,
needs quite a lot of support. She's lost her sight, so I'm her
okay,
eyes, I'm her wheels.
yeah,
So during COVID, the AOR kind of persuaded me to put finger-free CPD online, and they were saying we don't mind it being online as a CPD because people have already got the understanding of how to
yeah,
apply pressure, all the rest of it. So I was persuaded to do that. So the CPD course online is available all the time, and you can start whenever you want. You can take as long as you like. And I must admit, as a CPD course, it means that you can rewind the videos
yeah,
as often as you
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
which you can't do when you're face to face.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so there's that. I do hope to be able to put some more courses on, but that really does depend. It's going to sound awful, but it's like, you know, all the while my mum is still with us,
yeah, yeah.
she has to be my priority, and the
Of course,
CPD side of things
yeah,
has
yeah,
to take a back seat.
yeah, yeah,
Once things have changed, then I'll be able to put more back on.
yeah. I do sympathise with your situation. You know, my situation's similar as well in a way.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, looking ahead to the future, then, what would you
Yes.
like to see happening with reflexology in the future?
What I would say is I'm not allowed to talk about them because they're under embargo. But
Okay.
there are some very, very exciting research trials that are either just about to happen
Yeah.
or just about to have the results announced. And if things are going in the trajectory,
Yes.
try saying that one, that I believe they are going in, we are actually going to be seeing results showing how reflexology can treat and help people live with a condition. I'm not allowed to
Yeah.
say what it is.
It's a teaser, everybody.
It's a
It's a
teaser. It's a
teaser.
teaser. But there is a huge condition, massively debilitating condition, that there is no cure for at all. And reflexology is showing stunning results for. And if that trial manages to prove what the person doing the trial knows to be the case, the medical world has got to sit up and pay attention. So that's going to be super exciting. There is, of course, the work that Kevin Kunz is doing that everybody does know about, that's super exciting,
Yeah.
about reflexology for stroke,
Yeah.
where we have areas of the brain that shouldn't be lighting up anymore
Yeah.
that are.
Yeah.
So I do believe that literally, seriously, Lee, when I learnt way, way back years ago Um, we were taken just as a laughing stock. We were just weirdos.
Yeah,
Now, more and more and more and more, the medical world is waking up to what reflexology can do.
yeah,
And I think the future is actually rosy as far as a reflexologist is concerned. So much for us to look forward to, so many opportunities.
yeah.
Yeah, world's our oyster, I believe.
Fantastic. What a point to end on. What a point to end on. Well, David will tell me all about it off air, so I know about it. But no,
I will have to swear you to secrecy.
yeah, yes, I'll have to stay in a darkened room for a long time. Um, thank you so much for sharing your insights and bringing the joy and the experiences of reflexology for today. And we'll have an update as soon as you've got an update for us. We'll have an update as well.
Absolutely. I will promise you I will. No problem. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And
Okay.
it has been a delight having a chat with you about my favorite subject, of course.
Yes. Wonderful. All right. Thanks, David. We'll speak soon.
You're welcome.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.